Hey, Brian, thanks for joining.
Hey, Anthony, it's great to be here.
I'm. I just love the sort of tagline for our talk today. The man who makes a six-figure income just going for a walk every night. I love that.
Well, it's pretty accurate, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for since 1981, going on 39 years, whatever. Your math is probably better than mine.
Cool.
I lose track of the years.
Well, I want to hear the whole story, but maybe we can start with, so you say 38, 39 years. What was going on with you at that time? Like, what was your life like before you started doing what you're doing now?
Well, I was 21 years of age back in 1981, and I was looking at making a change in my life. I was working full time at the time in a large sporting goods store in the shipping receiving department, and I barely graduated high school. I never went to college, didn't have a lot of money in my bank account, and not a lot of skills. And so my options, I guess you could say, were pretty limited. So, but I make a long story short. I remembered my father, who was a janitor by trade. That's what he did for a living. But he always had to supplement the family income. And back then, before it was known as a side gig, side hustle, he had a part-time job, or you called it moonlighting. He did a number of other types of cleaning jobs. He would cut grass, he would shovel snow, but he also cleaned up litter from a nearby shopping center. He just walked around the property on a daily basis and swept up any cups, cans, wrappers, bottles, any type of litter material like that into a litter collection tool, and it was quite that easy, almost as easy as that. He'd taken me along with him a couple times to help him out. And I thought, wow, I mean, this is really great. So that was a memory. But when I was looking at my options, I thought, okay, well, what can I start? What type of business can I start? And this is way before the internet, of course. So I was looking at maybe a service, some sort of cleaning business that didn't cost a lot of money to get started. And I thought, oh, well, what about this? What my dad is doing, offering this service. So. Unfortunately, he passed away just a couple of months before I started my business, so I didn't have him to ask him for his contacts or anything like this and how to do the work. It just, the memory from doing it a couple times with him. So I started making some calls to property management companies and asked them if they'd be interested in a service like that. And lo and behold, after, I don't know, fourth or fifth phone call, I hit the jackpot, so to speak. I landed a client who wanted 2 properties cleaned, and I gave him some prices. He said yes, and it all started from there. The learning experience as well as my career, if you will.
So, first. Getting a closed deal on your fifth call is like a dream come true for any entrepreneur, by the way.
Well, you know what? I have a saying to people that, there's no such thing as being lucky. You make your luck, and it happens sometimes. It could be on the first call. It's just a set of circumstances. You just have to put yourself out there and make those calls, and you never know. You might get lucky and contact somebody who just that very moment or that day is not happy with what they have in place for a litter cleaning service, and all of a sudden, you happen to contact them, and they say, "Wow, this is an opportune time." Other times, of course, yeah, you're going to get various responses. Well, we have somebody, or check back with us, or send me some information, and I'll look at it, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's a game of sales. Anyone involved in any type of business understands that, and your persistence and patience pays off.
So how do you go from that first client, and congratulations, 20 years later, but how do you go from that first client to scaling up and getting up to making a real business? Yeah.
Well, my goal to begin the business was to do something simple that I enjoyed doing. I loved working outdoors, and the goal was to be as successful as I could as a simple one-man operation. So that's what I did. I built the business up to the point where I had as much business as I could handle. And then from there, I thought, well, where do I go? I mean, I don't want to start turning down my customers and maybe turning them over to some competitors. So I had no choice but basically to add more people. And my brothers became involved in the business, and we kept growing it, and our customers are happy. I learned from experience that the best way to attract more business is to keep your customers happy. So we provide additional value. And when I say that, I mean, if we're cleaning the properties, I mean, anybody can clean, but if you're cleaning and you happen to notice some property damage, a stop sign's knocked down, or some lights are burnt out, or there's fresh graffiti, or somebody's dumped a sofa, we just inform our customers of that, and they really appreciate that added service or bonus service, if you will, and it helps cement that business relationship. They're more likely to want to continue doing or do more business with us, so they'll pick up the phone or send us an email. Hey, Brian, we've picked up some more properties. We need some more prices, and word spreads around. It's a small community, the property management industry in each city, and they tend to network, and they ask each other questions. Who do you use as a plumber? Who do you use for a landscaper? Who do you use to keep your properties litter-free? And so the longer you're in business, the more referral business you happen to get. So once my brothers became involved in the business, we continue to grow. Well, what are we going to do now? So then we started recruiting people to work for us. So we've got a whole army of people that are all throughout the city cleaning up litter for us. And we have about 150 properties, give and take, because you're always adding properties, and sometimes you lose properties. That's the nature of the contracting business. But we're billing out over approximately $650,000 a year just in litter cleaning contracts.
When you say just in litter cleaning, what are some other services that you offer?
Well, that's just it. We don't do landscaping. We're not a janitorial company. We learned from the very beginning that it's better, in my opinion, it's better to do something better than everybody else than trying to do everything for everyone. So it's a niche service, and that's all we do. We don't try to do pressure washing, or we're not a day porter service. We're not a landscaper, and in some cases those are our competitors. It could be landscapers, it could be cleaning companies, because our customers might not be familiar with our service, or in other cities, a service such as ours. And so they tend to kind of ask the landscapers, can you pitch in, can you do this, or the day porter service, or they may have their own people that are called building operators, trying to pitch in as well. So our business model has been very successful because we give better service, provide better service for less money. And so our customers or prospects are always interested to find a way that they can get better service for less money, because they owe that to their customers, which are owners of these properties. And so that's the way it goes.
Hey, so just excuse my ignorance, but help me break this down. So litter, your service is categorized as what's the I guess the terminology?
Well, I mean, it's not really parking lot maintenance, because that would be sweeping, that would be paving, line painting, anything to maintain the hard surface. But we're basically a cleaning service, so many people refer to it as different things. It could be litter cleanup, it could be parking lot litter removal, parking lot or just litter cleanup service. There's all sorts of different terminology that different people will use.
That's interesting, because I honestly wouldn't think that there would be that much litter in parking lots. But what do you see out there?
Oh, depending on the type of property too. I mean, if you have some office buildings that are professional in nature, there's not a lot of trash or litter other than what people will bring to the site. It's amazing how many people will open in their vehicle doors and dump out the fast food wrappers or bags,
Come on.
the coffee cups. Oh yeah. And you know what? I've been doing this since 1981. So, and unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because it's provided a very good income for me. But I haven't seen habits of people change at all over those decades. People do what they're lazy. They just don't want trash in their cars, so they dump it into a parking lot. Same thing with smokers. It's a real issue with people, standing outside of buildings now because you can't smoke inside. And there could be ashtrays, or maybe there aren't, but people will tend to throw their butts wherever they please. And,
Right.
cigarette butts, it is litter material and needs to be swept up. So, we provide our service anywhere from 3 days to 5 days a week at maybe some of those office buildings, but with the retail properties, with the small shopping plazas where there's restaurants or fast food stores or convenience stores, liquor stores, pizza by the slice. I mean, all types of businesses that generate litter or trash material on a daily basis. That stuff needs to be cleaned up.
I guess I just had more faith in people cleaning up after themselves,
Well, some people do, and I take pride in doing the service that I provide, and I really like to see the results of my work after I leave a property. But like I say, litter isn't going away. People litter, and owners of properties, property managers, they need to maintain their properties more and more these days. The community expects it. The tenants expect it. The customers that frequent those shops or the properties, they expect to see a clean property. So, we offer the solution, to property management companies to maintain their properties litter free, as opposed to going in and just cleaning up an accumulation. And where our service differs from perhaps some of the others is we are an after-hours service where we go in there after the businesses have closed and, before they open. And it's an on-foot service using simple hand tools. We just simply walk the entire property, which would consist of sidewalks, parking areas, and the surrounding landscape. And after hours, so there's no vehicles present, and we can clearly see and clean up all the material that needs to be done, and we move on to the next property.
Yeah, I think I saw that in some of your website materials that you focus, like your business in and of itself is pretty niche in that you're the parking lot litter removal service, but then you even subcategorize, meaning if I read correctly, you don't go after the big mega malls or there's very certain types of properties that you think are ideal for your service. And I think you mentioned it as smaller strip malls or offices. Am I getting that right?
Well, we've always, over the decades, done a few of the larger town centers, but by and large, there's far more, and I emphasize far more, of the small to medium-sized properties. If you really think about it, when you're driving around, we all know where some of the bigger developments are. They tend to be concentrated, but there's fewer of those than there are of the smaller properties. I mean, the smaller properties are everywhere. And so, because there's far more of them, we tend to get more of those, and they're really easy to service. It's almost as easily as the time it takes to walk the property. You're in and out of there in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the size of the property. That's all we do. And then, like I say, we provide that we're an extra set of eyes for our customers. So, if we notice anything when we're cleaning up the property, we communicate that to them the following day, and they really appreciate the service we provide for them.
So I just have a ton of questions. I hope you don't mind me just peppering you with questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So you said after hours. And I think you answered my question, but I do want to ask: is it after hours so that the cars are all gone and you have a better sight line for all the litter?
Yeah.
Is that the reason? Okay, very good.
Yeah, and exactly. And see, that's one of the benefits to our service as opposed to maybe what some of our competitors might be doing, such as the landscapers or the cleaning companies. The landscapers are going to be there, obviously, during the day when they're cutting the grass or doing some sort of landscape work, and they tend to operate in crews of multiple people, and so it gets pretty expensive for them to have to do litter cleaning. And how good a job can you do when vehicle traffic is in the property or vehicles are parked on top of material? So we're in there after hours, early morning hours. We have a window of opportunity basically from the time businesses shut down at the end of the day until they open up in the morning. So, and depending on the nature of the property too, because some of those office buildings, they might shut down earlier. And then even some of the industrial properties where you've got office space in the front and some warehouse space in the back, industrial parks. I mean, they're pretty lucrative to do too, but we can go in there 2 or 3 times a week, and it's possible to do those in the evening if one decided to, or early in the morning, because those businesses aren't retail, and they're not open late. They're typically shut down at the end of office hours, which may be 5 o'clock, in the late afternoon.
So, what is your schedule like? Are you starting your workday at 5 p.m. and then kind of like a graveyard shift, or are you done by 10 p.m., 11 p.m.? I mean, how does that work as a business?
Well, we have different people. So some people might do some more warehouse property, so they might start. They won't start in the afternoons because even though it's possible, this is our livelihood, and we would rather do the work where there's less traffic on the streets as well. So we will go out maybe any time after midnight, or it's possible to to start at 3 or 4 in the morning. And just because we can get around the city that much easier. So we all have our own routes, if you will, and it's great. For some of the people that work for us on a part-time basis, where they can go out in the early morning hours before they go to work if they have a full-time job. They might work for us part-time to make maybe an extra $1,000 or $2 a month or whatever, depending how many buildings they want to do. Yeah. And if it's the same type of person, if they wanted to do a couple of warehouse properties in the evening, so be it. And then they can go home and get a good night's sleep, and then go to their full-time job during the day. So there's all sorts of things that work out for everyone.
So you emphasized that you guys walk the property and use hand tools only. Are you drawing a distinction from competitors? Are there like machine-based services or something like that? Okay.
Yeah, well, like I said, some of our competitors too. I mean, like when I mentioned, parking lot maintenance, and you would have the vacuum trucks or the street sweepers, if you know what I'm talking about, where they will go around and navigate the areas where they can drive. But obviously, they're not going to be doing any kind of litter cleaning from the landscape or the sidewalks. But they'll go around the parking lot and sweep up. But it seems to me that's pretty drastic overkill to do a litter cleanup with a huge piece of machinery like that, where it's pretty expensive to operate. But the main purpose of a street sweeper, let's be honest, is to sweep up dirt and gravel or sanding chips or material of that nature, not litter material. So, sometimes our customers, before they become aware of our service, they might be utilizing a number of things. Like they might have the street sweeper come in and do the property once a week, and they might supplement that with their building operator, or maybe they have the landscaper. But once we introduce ourselves to our prospects and say, hey, this is our service. I mean, doesn't this make more sense to you? And we can save you money, and we can go in more frequently for about the same price you had somebody going in maybe once a week to clean the property. So we can give them better service and better results.
So I'm in Manhattan, New York City. Is this something that would, as a business model, is this a service that you could offer in more urban areas, or is this mostly for suburban/rural areas? Would you say?
Well, no. Well, not rural, because obviously you need to be in a market with commercial properties, and whether they be the neighborhood strip plaza where you go late at night because you forgot to get the bread for toast in the morning and the milk for the breakfast, and where maybe there's 3 or 4 or 5 businesses located, including the convenience store. Maybe a dry cleaner, a pizza delivery, takeout. But wherever there's properties all over the city, those are great. Those are the types of properties we service. Even downtown. I mean, by and large, where you've got the large skyscrapers, they tend to have their own people in the buildings, and they can manage quite easily themselves. It's done in-house. Much the same as like the big mega malls, the indoor covered malls. I mean, they will have their own crew on site and provide the service themselves. But the small to medium-sized properties that are all over a city will contract the work out, and those are the types of properties that we would service.
Okay, so a few questions for anyone who's interested in getting into this business themselves. So my first question is, what happens if you get sick? Do you have a backup? How do you work that out?
Well, because you're getting some good exercise here, you tend to be healthier, so you don't tend to get sick.
Nice. Good
answer. And if you work for yourself, you really can't. No, you can't afford to get. No, I'm just kidding here. No, what you do is you make use of some people that will cover for you, whether it's vacation, sick time, and perhaps you've got a customer that is come to you and say, hey, what. We like your 5-day-a-week service, but, we need weekend service. So, we're not about to work weekends. So we've got people that would solely do weekend work for us. So if we were to become sick, and a lot of cases they're familiar with some of our properties because they're doing the same properties that we do, except just on the weekend. And so, there's always a way to get people to cover for you, should you get sick, or whatever the case is. Something comes up and you want to take some time off.
So how does inclement weather affect your business? Meaning, if there is like a rainstorm, do you guys still go out there? If the parking lots are just covered in a blanket of snow, do the property managers just tell you to take the week off? Like, how does that work out?
Oh, well, you know what? We're like the post office.
Yeah.
You got to get out there. So, if you think about it, well, first of all, you dress appropriately. You dress for the weather conditions. You do the best you can. Your clients understand. They can look out their office window and see what the weather is, and they're not they're not concerned that I'm not getting service today. You still have to make your rounds, and in some cases there are areas of the property that are kind of sheltered from the elements that won't get the rain or won't get the snow, and if you don't go out there. Maybe some of the material, the cups, cans, or cigarette butts, it's still visible. And if it's not your customers, it could be one of the tenants that would phone up and say, hey, nobody showed up today. I've got the same coffee cup, or there's a broken beer bottle on the sidewalk this morning, and nobody's shown up. The same thing with the litter containers. A lot of the properties will have the sidewalk litter containers that make it easy for people to dispose of their trash or litter, and we are responsible for changing out the trash liner as often as necessary. And so even if there's a bit of snow that has covered the parking lot and you can't see some of the materials temporarily masked for that snow day, there are still things that you need to do, like make sure those covered areas are serviced and any kind of overflowing litter containers are emptied. And to be honest with you, we clean up far more coffee cups in the winter months than we do
right.
any other time of year. The parking lot could be covered in snow, but lo and behold, there's a few coffee cups poking up and they need to be picked up. They need to be cleaned up.
So if I want to get started, what's my upfront capital investment? Is what's the bare minimum equipment or attire, or what do I need to just get started? Yeah.
Yeah, well, to get started, obviously, remember, this is a business, so you will require business insurance. So that's something that you need, a comprehensive business liability, and that
is that something that you require, or that your property managers will require of you?
That the property managers will require of you.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times, they'll never ask for proof of it, and in some cases, the larger management companies will always, on an annual basis, ask for proof of insurance coverage, and it's there to protect them, but also protect you from any type of liability. Every municipality is different. You may require a business license. In some cases, you may not. You might not. Simple hand tools that you could pick up at a home center or a cleaning supply store. But I found early on in my career, when I first started the business, as I mentioned, I had to experiment. What were the best tools to use, and I found this great tool that I still use today, which simplified my cleaning, makes it far easier and far more profitable. And I let people know, I don't manufacture, I don't sell it myself, but I let people know that buy my book where to find it. And it's incredible. It just makes the cleanup, like you say, if you see my video at all, it's literally as easy as going for a walk.
Very cool. So my last question, before I would like to ask you about your book and what you're offering folks who want to get into this business. So my last question is, how important would you say are English language skills? Because this seems like a business that might be a good opportunity for either recent immigrants or even folks who have lived here a long time but who haven't, for whatever reasons, picked up enough English to do other jobs. I guess you would need some strong language skills to get the gigs, but in your own words, tell me how important is English? Speaking ability.
You will need to be able to converse. But I tell you, this business, it's not like you're always on the phone. It's not like you're inundated with emails, text messages, and you're always, spending a lot of time communicating, if you will. You get the contracts. Yes, you do need to communicate with your clients on an occasional basis as the need arises. But basically, you just show up and do the cleaning work. A lot of the material that is necessary to get started in this business is in my book, and you just simply, make copies of it, or I do offer a business template kit as a supplemental product, where if you wanted to, you order that, and all you do is insert your own information, and you just send those forms. Same thing with marketing. I've got examples of postcards or mailers that you could send to prospects. So while it is, you do need some basic English skills. You don't have to be, 100% proficient or at it or whatever.
So why did you? Your book is Clean Lots: America's Simplest Business, a parking lot litter removal business you can be proud of. Available on Amazon, I believe. So is this a
website,
guide? Very good.
It is on Amazon, but it is available also on my website, cleanlots.com. And like I say, on my website, there's also some of the other related products if people were interested. But in order to get started, all you really need is the book. I have the ebook version and also a hard copy for those that want that one. And then, like I say, it is available elsewhere as well.
And to be clear, this is a guide for anyone who's interested in starting their own version of this business. Is that right?
Yeah, I would call it like an operations manual. Nice. It's something that you would get if you were buying a franchise, but this, you don't have to pay the royalties or franchise fees or, any of that money up front. And I would like to mention, too, I offer free support. Anyone who buys my book and they want to get involved in this business and start and operate it, if you have a few questions, my contact information is in the book. You can, phone me or you can email me. And I make that offer because it is such a simple business. It works. If you work the business, the business will work for you. So it's quite as simple as that. I call it a simple business, and you just need to go out there and do it and make a plan and follow up.
Do you have any entrepreneurs, or have you met anyone who does this, who's really more of a retiree and is sort of combining fitness or health, benefits with a little bit of side income? Have you met anyone like that? Because it sounds like it'd be ideal for that.
Yeah, people that are interested in doing this on the side or turning it into a full-time business, they come from all walks of life.
Nice.
I've heard from people that have purchased my book and they were semi-retired or they were in business for all sorts of years, And if they're used to getting up in the morning, and and so they want something to do, and they like a little bit of exercise, like going for that walk in the morning, and I've heard from people that from those walks of life have bought my book and done quite well with it. On a part-time basis, they keep it, a little simple business in retirement. Other people, do this on the side. Some people have, turned it into a full-time business. There was a fellow back east, I think it was New Hampshire, who was in the street sweeping business, and he bought my book a few years ago, and he built this business up to the scale where he just sold a sweeping operation. He just got out of that completely, and now he just provides this on-foot service. And I have to also mention too, like I say, it is just cleaning up litter material. You're not spending a huge amount of time cleaning up an accumulation. You're not sweeping up dirt or gravel. It's just sweeping up to a can or a cup or a fast food wrapper. And sweeping it into the bag, and you could walk another 10, 20, 30 yards until you get to the next piece. Because the whole point is we keep the properties clean for our customers.
Very good. This is amazingly simple and interesting, and the fitness parts I can't overstate, especially with so many people so sedentary these days. I mean, this is really great. Congratulations to all your success and making this work. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Anthony. And I thought, I was doing this for a few years, and I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. I wish something like this was available when I got started. I would have bought the book gladly, and it would have saved me a lot of time and money, developing these skills and tools. So, and I make that offer. I mean, if anyone wants to do this, whether it be on the side or full time, I'm happy to spend some time with you and help you out.
That's an amazingly generous offer. You seem like a great guy, and I think you deserve all the success you've received. So, thanks for jumping on and chatting with me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Okay, so again, Clean Lots available on Brian's website. I'll include the link in the show notes. Everyone should just check it out because everyone's so concerned with starting an Instagram page or all these other, like as you said, side hustles. I mean, sometimes the simplest things can be the most overlooked and most successful. Yeah.
Well, that's right, and just keep in mind, a lot of people don't want to do it. So there's the market for those of us that do.
Very good, very good. All right, Brian, thanks again for joining us, and to everyone listening, we'll talk again soon next time. Take care, all. Bye, Brian.
Thank you. Bye-bye.